These are animals who are truly looked after, cared for 24/7, and rightfully so.
Yep.
That is what the rodeo company's purpose is. That is what these cowboys and cowgirls live for. It's a shared effort. If there's ever an issue, take a look at who the first people to bail off and go assist are. Those cowboys are going to be the first ones to go out there and take care of those animals.
Hey everyone, welcome to Crossroad Conversations with the Lewis Brothers, where we aim to share real stories about running a successful family business, working through adversity, and pouring back into the community that keeps our door open. We're your hosts, Matt, Shelby, and Taylor, and we bring you relevant local business advice and automotive insights that are sure to change the way you look at running a business, and maybe even throw in a plug for you to do business with us.
Welcome to Crossroad Conversations with the Lewis Brothers. Hey, episode 40, guys.
Number 40.
Episode
Let's
40
go.
today. Today we got a special guest in the house, Joe Rollins. Joe, welcome to the podcast. Joe is president of the board of directors for the Rodeo of the Ozarks. And man, do we have some stories to unpack today about Rodeo of the Ozarks, ever since we could walk to helping out with the parades, and then just the integration that the rodeo has meant not only to the town of Springdale, but to Northwest Arkansas. I love that it's still in the center of this, almost the center of the city, and they've kept that heritage there alive when we're in a booming Northwest Arkansas. So I can't wait to unpack all those with Joe today as we talk about the Rodeo of the Ozarks. It's coming up in just a little bit here.
Hey, if you didn't tune in last week, that's okay. You can go back episode 39. Unleash your team's power, the buy-in blueprint. So we broke down how to get buy-in, even if it's your idea, even if it's your forward thinking, how to get buy-in from your team to have a seamless transition over to new growth. So that was episode 39. Check that out at Crossroad Conversations on YouTube, on Spotify, or however you get your podcasts. Also, don't forget, check us out at lewissuperstore.com to find your next ride, to upgrade, schedule your service, or whatever we can do for you. Check us out online.
Absolutely. Hey, what'd we drive today? I've been beating the drum trying to get these, and we finally got them in. We all have a car side in us, obviously, a heritage of being in this. So we have a performance side. People always ask us, like, hey, what fast cars do you have? We just work. I'm sorry. We just work. But that doesn't mean we don't love fast vehicles.
Yeah.
So Whipple supercharger, kind of a power adder for vehicles. I was able to finally get over 6 months of waiting, finally got several in stock to build our really popular street performance regular cab truck, over 725 horsepower, four-wheel drive. It will absolutely throw you through the rear seat. It is a blast to drive, but I have two available on the ground ready to go. Side exhaust, 22s, lowered. It's pretty radical. It's bad to the bone.
Okay.
But so excited that we have it back ready to go, and what a fun vehicle to be able to talk about.
That's a really cool vehicle. Y'all done a great job putting those packages together. Did they have some warranty to them?
Yeah.
You get high horsepower.
Yeah.
You get them in a cool configuration. And I noticed it's in the trimmer truck now.
We kind of went
It's the
into
4-door.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then did I see it at the exhaust place?
Oh, yeah. So
Okay.
a little bit of exhaust.
That kind of stemmed from the Raptor R. That's like the pinnacle of all. But you're talking $140,000 to $150,000 truck, which is a lot of money. We would take 1,000 of them if we could get.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the supply and demand, what it is. So we took a crew cab trimmer 5-liter.
Oh, yeah.
And customized it with wheels and tires and some custom paint and some custom graphics. So now it's a trimmer R. So it's supercharged, 725 horsepower.
Straight sleeper.
But it's a 4-door, so you can haul your entire family. You could hook up your horse trailer to it and get your horses there a little bit quicker. You could see some value in that, couldn't you, Joe? Sometimes running a little behind, and you got to get there. So we've got the trucks.
Maybe if you're into roping, that kind of trains your horse on you know what I mean? How to come out of the gate.
Or if you're just running late and you really need to get there right now.
Yeah,
that's going to do it. Yep.
Nail on the head.
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
So really excited to have those in back here. I have absolutely been clawing trying to get them back, but got them back. So
you bet. We're excited today to jump in, and I know that's why y'all tuned in too, to hear from my friend Joe right here with Rodeo of the Ozarks. Now, Joe, we were talking a little bit off air. You're originally from Springdale.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you've been around the road, not only the rodeo, but the rodeo of the Ozarks your entire life, hadn't you?
I'm a byproduct of the system. I've grown up out there from my childhood forward. So now it's kind of that adult realization of I've seen this my whole life. Now I actually get to be a part of help putting it together.
Isn't that cool?
It really is.
You know, and when you think about, you know, when you and I go backwards and we go to, hey, when we were growing up, junior high, high school, seeing the rodeo around, it was a lot smaller population.
It was. I mean, Northwest Arkansas as a whole was a smaller population back then.
It really was.
So as you see our region grow, and I've done a lot of that work in my day life whenever I don't have the hat on. But as I watch us grow, population, diversity, I want you to understand all that's included in what we're doing out there, and we're going to get a chance to talk through some of that.
I think that's a great point. Like you said, we'll unpack it as it's evolved. The rodeo's evolved too.
Absolutely.
You know, so when you look at the diversity, when you look at who it brings in, and what I love we were talking about this off air, is in an area like Northwest Arkansas, you know, we're talking about we were 150, 200,000 people then at most. Now we're 650 on our way to 1 million. When you do that, you start running out of space. People are trying to build houses. They're trying to build businesses. You see older businesses or older homes being bought and bulldozed down to create more room. The one thing that y'all have done a fantastic job is preserving that area of the rodeo of the Ozarks. Right, and I'm going to say it's in the city of Springdale.
Absolutely.
You know, so when you drive by, you see that. And it could have easily been sold and moved out towards Huntsville or towards Siloam, any of those areas. They said, no, we're keeping it as part of the history, diversifying it to move on.
Think about where we sit. We are right at the intersection of Emma and 265 on the east side of Springdale. Back then, when the rodeo started, and I believe you said it already, 1944. We are 81 years deep into this rodeo. Think about what East Springdale looked like back then. Very agricultural.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard to see row crops, apple trees, pastures, animals. As Northwest Arkansas grows, a lot of that growth is happening, yes, on the east side of Springdale. It's happening north in Benton County. It's happening to the east of Fayetteville, out toward the Goshen area. We're seeing growth by about 30 people per day moving to the area right now. Think about what all of those skill sets, what all of that history is coming with that growth.
Yeah.
And a big part of that heritage revolves around agriculture, rodeo. Think about, even in our Hispanic community that's growing across the region, a lot of the background of rodeo started with that kind of heritage.
It really did.
So truly, we're staying true to our roots more than a lot of folks can even talk about.
I think that's such a great point when you start thinking about that, and, you know, the diversification and staying true to it is, there's a lot of people that are moving in the area that have choices they can move to. They could move to Chicago or LA or Dallas or this or that. And yeah, you might have the big buildings, but you don't have a rodeo grounds in the middle of town.
Well,
So that's unique about our area, is we have trails everywhere. We've got rodeo grounds. We've got not only a sense of somewhere to work, but a sense of somewhere to belong. And that makes it different and very unique, and the rodeo is a part of that.
it's an overall quality of life kind of experience.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about where a lot of our growth is coming from, yes, we're seeing a lot of growth coming here from some of the states to the west of us.
Sure.
And think about that heritage they bring with them. A lot of that stems from rodeo activities. A lot of that basic agricultural heritage. We want to be a place where they can call home, a place where they can find an identity as they move to a new area. What better place to do that than the Rodeo of the Ozarks?
I think that's great. Let's unpack a little bit about yourself. We talked a little bit about the rodeo there, but you grew up in Springdale, so you were going past the rodeo grounds every single day. Everybody talked about the rodeo. How did you migrate? Did you start going to the rodeo when you were younger?
As you meet a lot of folks that come to our rodeo, you're going to find 2 or 3 big categories of people. Folks who grew up on a farm.
Yes.
Any form or fashion of farm, they just have a love for the animals, a love for that style of life. Fantastic. We've got a lot of things they can do out there.
Sure.
You also have your true avid rodeo fans who follow it religiously, and they know all of the cowboys and cowgirls. They know all of the names of the bucking stock that are coming out of the chutes. They live it, they breathe it. We have a big outpouring of those kind of folks too. And then let's talk about, as Northwest Arkansas grows, we have another population of folks who are just looking for something fun to go do that's new
Yeah.
for the whole family.
Yeah.
We have that to offer also. So if you're not a diehard rodeo fan, don't let that stop you from coming to see us. I promise you, we've got something for you and the whole family to enjoy.
That's a pretty cool thing, and I'm glad you break that down. So the theory of, do you want to be part of the rodeo or do you want to be part of the experience?
Yes.
And I say that we were in Montana some years back in the Big Sky area, and there happened to be their version of a local rodeo going on at that time, and some of the people we were with didn't you would never catch. I don't want to say don't belong, because everyone belongs, right? But you would never think you would ever catch them in a rodeo. But it was entertainment to them, no different than a play or a movie or a ball game. And they said, "Hey, we're going down to the rodeo." And I said, "You are?" And they said, "Oh yeah, they got bull riding, they got this, they got that."
Something for the whole family.
Right? And they were so excited. The next day we were like, "Hey, how'd the rodeo go?" And they're like, "Oh, it was amazing. They had this." And it sounded just like our rodeo that we know. And so the entertainment every year, we've been teamed up, and we'll talk about that for a long time. We get a good amount of seats, just like we do with any of our seats to the Razorback games or anything. We give them to our employees. And we see tons of people that didn't grow up on a farm or hadn't been part of the rodeo community, and they come back just super
so
excited. Like the experience that you get when you walk onto that rodeo ground.
I
They
think
had that
'cause
awakening.
Yeah.
well, they take their family, we'll put a pack of 5 or pack of 4 or whatever. They sit up at the Buckle Club. They go, they have the dinner, and then they're sitting there so they can watch all the Cowboys, whatever they're getting on and going through their pregame. And then they come back and they've never been exposed to that. And they're like, that was amazing. My kids were so engaged. They weren't on technology.
There's a win.
It's just like all these pieces. And it's so cool that it's still in the middle of Springdale, and you and everybody else on the board have just done a fantastic job keeping up with the facility, bringing in new entertainment, bringing the best stock, the best Cowboys, the best clowns, all of it. Because it takes all those pieces.
It does. And especially if we're talking about a family, just like you mentioned. Maybe you don't even own a pair of boots.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Come out and spend an evening with us, and I bet we'll change your.
Yeah, wait for the pair of boots.
Yeah.
Good night.
But bring the family.
Oh, yeah.
We will have everything from quality rodeo action.
Oh, yeah.
I promise you, we'll have some food that'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
We're going to have humor. We're going to have music. We're going to have a lot of beautiful horses.
Yeah.
A lot of ugly old cowboys. But you talked about facilities. We have a brand new set of options for your comfort. Really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some folks absolutely want those Buckle Club seats looking right down over the top of the buck and chutes. You can watch us put the Cowboys on the horses, on the bulls. Perfect.
Yeah.
We have some folks who just want a good bird's eye view of the whole arena. We've got fantastic covered seating.
Yep.
And then we've added some new space over on the east side of the stadium.
Well, I saw that last year. Let's talk about that.
So brand new set of box seats right along that eastern wall.
Okay.
So that's step one.
Okay.
If you take 5 steps back behind you, VIP covered tent,
Okay.
high top tables.
Okay.
If you'd like to have a beverage, we've got that served under the tent so you don't have to get up and go stand in the lines.
Okay.
And again, things like fans overhead. It is June in Arkansas. But again, the changes that we've made, not a bad seat in the house.
Sure.
So if you don't want any of those options, maybe you prefer to have lawn seating style seats. If you go to the amp, if you go see a concert, maybe you like to be able to mill around and visit.
Sure.
We've got you covered there too. So on the eastern side, we have a large patio area. Walk around, visit, have a big time. So
Sure.
for any kind of seat that you might want, we've got you.
I think, and I've seen that. I remember walking around last year. I'm sure you guys too. Of like,
Yeah.
oh man, what are they doing over there? What to do with those stands? And it makes so much more sense if you got where people want to socialize, but they still want to see what's going on, or they're networking or whatever, or if they want to be in this action or over there or look around. That's just my hat's off to you and the board for not just saying this is how we've always done it. We've got, and we talked about that in the podcast. In our business, we went through that too. We opened a couple years after you guys in 46. And it's like, okay, we've got a track record of success, but is that going to get us with the current times of where we want to go?
No.
And y'all have done the same thing. Just because it got you to where you are now doesn't mean it's going to get you to where you need to go.
Well, it's about balance. And we talked about this before we started. Finding ways to still honor the heritage that you came from and continue to grow, adapt, and adjust for a diverse Northwest Arkansas so that everybody finds a home there. And it's the same concept that you work with day in and day out here. We want to be a place where people can come spend their evenings and have a great time.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us the story. Back in, was it 2013? How did they recruit you to be on the board?
So I grew up around the rodeo.
Okay.
I was one of those kids who hung around and kind of did odd jobs. And you spend enough time around a rodeo, eventually they're going to find ways to get you more and more plugged in. My guess is if you spend enough time around the yard here, they're going to find a way to drive home in a new vehicle. So it's a similar conversation, but you get comfortable with it.
Yep.
You grow into it. You learn that I love being a part of something that matters to our community,
Sure.
something that brings community partners from all over the region together
Yeah.
for the sole purpose of trying to, number one, create a venue that everybody wants to be a part of and put on a quality show.
So, but how did you get there? There's a story, and I'm going
There's
to
a
keep
story.
peeling the layer back
There's a
till we
story.
get there. Was it your neighbor that knew it, or an uncle, or like, hey, we need your help over here, and before you know, you had a title on the board?
My guess is you can probably relate to this growing up on a farm, because I
Okay.
did too. You ever get those early morning knocks on your bedroom door from your dad saying it's time to go to work
Oh yeah.
on a Saturday?
Yeah.
On every weekend? So I kind of grew into it. My father was a part of the board growing up.
Okay, there we go.
And then I got those, we got to go. Time to go to
Come on,
work.
Joe. We
Yes,
gotta
sir.
go.
All right. So it kind of became an innate thing that's what you did in
Okay.
the summertime. But through my daily work, I'm kind of a community connector, a convener. I try and bring different resources, different companies to the table for either education or training, things to that effect. It's the same conversation in business, same conversation with the rodeo. We need people who can draw our community together. That's how I was asked to be a part of the board was, can you step out and make me relationships for the rodeo? Can you step out in the community and build awareness about what we do here? Can you work with our schools to create an education so that people understand it's not just a bunch of cowboys getting on horses. There's a whole lot more to it than that. That's how I started with the board. And I started on our board in 2013. And here we are, 2025, and they're not tired of me yet.
That's 12 plus years.
Yes, sir.
That's fantastic. I know some of the board members you have on there, so I know this next question you'll be able to answer pretty easy. One of the things I really respect that you've done with the board is the diversification in different industries and personalities that are on the board.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, can you speak to that a little bit? Because I think that really tells the truth and the magic behind on how y'all stayed progressive.
So there are two different sides to that conversation. I think it would apply in business. It would apply on nonprofit boards. As your community grows, you need a representation on that board that reflects how you're growing. So we have people who are brand new to our board. We have people who are brand new to the area, for that matter. We also have some of those, I'm going to call them anchor members of our community, who have been there. They've seen the growth. They've been in the business world. And then you have folks like me who are hopefully somewhere in between, who have just enough relation in both sides of that conversation. You have to make sure that you keep the balance between that heritage and that growth,
Sure.
so that you can respect the event that you're serving, but you're also growing with your community. And that's how we maintain the balance on our board. And sometimes it's easiest for me just to get out of the way and let the conversations happen, and then sometimes I have to referee, but that's how that works.
How many people on your board, and I don't really answer this question, so hopefully you do. How many people on your board are ex-professional bull riders?
To the best of my knowledge, I have 0 ex-professional bull riders on our board because that's a hard life.
What about, on the bareback, on the horse side?
So we do have some members on our board who have quite a bit of background in some form or fashion
Okay.
of equestrian lifestyle.
Of
whether-
equestrian lifestyle.
Whether they're the tame variety or the other.
Okay.
But
Okay.
the love for the animals is absolutely there.
So that's my point I wanted to get to is sometimes out there, whether in business or on a board or a nonprofit, we think that we have to have the actual experts in that field. So the ex-bull riders, the ex-bareback riders, the ex-bull fighters. And that's not the case. It's the love for the sport or the activity, and you might be doing it as a hobby, but then outside-wise, what can you pull in to try to get, because you're always going to have people at the rodeo that want to be a part and see it, but have no interest in getting on that bull.
Sure. So again, the way I see it, 3 big categories to that question too. You have you have to build your group around an absolute love for the event, because it does turn into work no matter what. So you have to love while you're
Sure.
But you have to have folks who are willing to ask questions, to learn, and then to drive it forward. So those are kind of your missing elements. Start with the love of it.
Okay.
Have the desire to ask the questions, but make sure that they have that desire to grow.
Okay.
Because there truly is no standing still in our business or in yours. You're either
Sure.
falling behind or you're getting ahead. So we have to make sure that we keep that in the back of our mind all the time. Are we growing?
Mm-hmm.
Or are we simply repeating history just because that's the way it's always been done? And in this kind of growth, you can't play that game.
That's so true. That's so true. Okay, it's time for a tougher question.
All right, fire away.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Because this is going to be a good one. We're going to unpack it, so you can't give me just a political answer.
No
Okay.
surface level answers.
All
Got
right, here we go. We've been around the rodeo for a while, and we've been around business, and we understand strong opinions when you're trying to pivot and make changes. Now, forever, and I don't know how many years, the Rodeo of the Ozarks staple was to be the 4th of July weekend.
Yes, sir.
It was. I don't know for how many years. A long time.
Yes, sir.
That shifted 5, 6, 7 years ago,
Yes, sir.
probably, to not on the 4th of July weekend, then into June. Now, I won't give you my opinion on that until you answer.
Okay.
Okay? So I can give you from the outside looking in. But tell me how that conversation, how big a battle was that?
That was a battle, and to be honest, there are still members of our community that are still unaware that we've shifted those dates. So if they're watching, as much as it disappoints me, sometimes we have moved our dates. We're not July 1st through
So
4th.
why did you shift it?
All right, so a few compounding reasons. There are only so many cowboys and cowgirls to spread between all of the PRCA rodeos.
Okay.
If you're familiar with the sport of rodeo, you've heard the term Cowboy Christmas, and that directly refers to the window that we're talking about.
Okay.
Late June, mid-July, that is when some of the biggest rodeos across the country are taking place.
Yep.
You can either take a small portion of the pie, or you can make yourself more available for some of those quality cowboys and cowgirls to make your rodeo a priority.
Okay.
Here we are in Arkansas. I'm a true Arkansas native. I love my home.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's not exactly central to the rodeo circuit.
It's not.
Correct.
So we had to bend a little bit to make our dates a little more available to our cowboys and cowgirls. That was one, because we were up against some of the largest rodeos in the country at that particular time frame. They wanted to come, but if they've already made one of the short goes in those other rodeos, their hands are pretty tied. So we tried to make that flexible. Now, there are some other issues going on. That July 4th holiday, rodeo is as patriotic a sport as you will find. Sometimes families have travel plans over those 4th of July holidays.
They do.
And if they're traveling to the lake, if they're going to the beach, it's hard to be at a rodeo at the same time. So we had to make sure that we could accommodate our fans also. Now, if you want Joe's personal opinion, I would love to think it's a few degrees cooler a few weeks earlier in the year than it is over July 4th in Northwest Arkansas. So those are some of the reasons, and
Yeah.
it all came down to availability of our cowboys to our fans. That's what it came down to.
But I just have to say, it didn't go that easy.
It did not go.
How many years did y'all discuss that on the board before you at least could get the majority? Because I know it didn't happen unanimously. The majority, because we're talking, for everybody listening out there, Joe told us that, the rodeo started in 1944. I bet it was 50, 60 years that it was on 4th of July weekend. And then there's people that have been on the board for a while and in native Springdale going, you better not move that date.
We still hear that. Why did you move it?
So how long a conversation, then how did you start getting people on board to going, hey, we got to adapt?
I will tell you that was a drawn out conversation that probably spanned nearly a decade of trying to get that simple act better.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing simple about that simple act. But,
Yeah.
a lot of times we fall into the habit of doing things because that's the way we've always done it.
Yeah.
That was one of the big things that we were trying to combat was, well, that's just what you do in Springdale. July 1st through the 4th, you go to the rodeo. That's what we used to do in Springdale, July 1st through 4th, and then Springdale, Northwest Arkansas. We're still seeing the growth, the turnover, the change. We have people moving here today
Yeah.
that likely don't know the Rodeo of the Ozarks exists.
Yep.
We have to make sure that we're growing with the times, and that was one of the things that put it over the top with us is we're not the same Northwest Arkansas that we were in 1944.
Yep.
We're not the only game in town, and we need to be respectful of that. So find a way to position ourselves in the regional calendar
Yeah.
so that people can come be a part of what we're doing.
That's so important of realizing that it wasn't always for everyone the most relevant thing on 4th of July. Like if they're out of town, or is there someone? Are you competing against a Walmart or a huge fireworks show or a weekend at the lake? Are you competing against that? So because it was down. So once you did switch over to June, did you see the results in the attendance and the sales and the dollars?
So we did,
Okay.
but it took a year or two for our community to fully catch on to that.
Okay.
Despite our best PR efforts, it took a while for that to become known.
Okay.
And the truth is, we still shift a day or two in either direction based on that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday lineup in late June.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, but there's two parts of that to attendance. There's first the part of the rodeo part. So let's talk about the riders, cowboys and cowgirls, the stock. So did you initially see a pretty easy shift to get a higher, I don't want to say higher quality, but more competitive, higher ranking, cowboys and cowgirls, and then the stock as well? Was it easier then to recruit that?
So it was, because again, there are X number of rodeos going on, X number of cowboys and cowgirls, and that X number of stock contractors is much, much smaller.
Okay.
One of the things that we really take to be very proud of,
Sure.
we bring the very best stock in the game. So we worked with Survey Pro Rodeos,
Okay.
and they are national qualifying bucking stock every year that we have in Northwest Arkansas. You can watch them on any of the NFRs. You can watch on any of the bull ridings that you see across the country. You will see that stock here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that people understand what a value that is to a cowboy or to a cowgirl. Whenever they see their options, whenever they see the draws, that attracts talent to Northwest Arkansas. That's going to be the show that you want to come see. You want to see that matchup. You want to see that bull rider and that bull. You want to see that particular bucking horse.
Sure.
They're going to be here. And that was one of those things that we really made a point to go get the very best stock contractors that we could get.
Sure.
Their availability gave us that window for that late June rodeo as opposed to that July 1 through 4.
So after the first year, and I'm sure you can remember this vividly, after the first year of adjusting it to June, and the attendance didn't skyrocket, okay, because this wasn't an overnight success.
No, sure.
How was the next meeting? Did you have half the room to go on, we got to go back to July? That just didn't work. I told you it wasn't going to work.
If you ever get more than two people together in a conversation, you're going to have something that's like, I told you.
Yeah.
But stay the course.
There you go.
Once you make the decision, stay the course. Build the awareness piece, because in a day and time where everybody is right here, if you're not telling your story loudly, if you're not pushing it out through all your social media channels, if you're not putting video content out there with it, how long does it take to be forgotten?
Not long enough.
People confuse that with, are you bragging or are you telling your stories? No, I'm building an awareness right now, because if people don't know you're there, they're not going to come see you.
Yeah.
That's really good. So would you say then more like year 3, year 4, then you started seeing that growth?
I would say year 3 was a really good target year.
Okay.
And it took that kind of transition period to get that. And of course, the world in 2018, 2019, everybody knows what that looked like.
Sure.
The only time that we weren't able to have a performance was right during the heat of all of our COVID issues.
All the COVID stuff.
But then we came right back the year after. Our audience was now aware of who we were. They were hungry for an event to go to, because we had all been pent up for a year. And that kind of set the new stage for where are we going as a rodeo. That laid the foundation for facility improvements. Now people are much more familiar with what we have to offer.
I think that, and I hope everybody out there listening grasps a hold of that. Yeah, we're going to have fun talking about rodeo today and all the fun stuff around it, but there's a business aspect to it. Is when you are willing and have the courage to adjust something that's been around for decades on decades, overnight success is not going to happen there. You got to stay the course. You got to let compounding happen. And if you'll keep pushing forward, you'll keep what you have as relevant, and you'll keep growing that as well. So my hat's off to you guys for doing that.
All right, we got to jump into a couple fun questions here, so don't answer out loud, okay? Because we'll get back to it, okay? Even though I love this event, our director behind the scenes put this on here. He said, "What animal is used in the event mutton busting?" Okay.
So what you tell us what's mutton busting without telling us what we're riding.
Without telling you what we're doing. Mutton busting.
Okay.
One of my favorite events in
I
the
know,
rodeo.
so
It's a
good.
good one.
It happens before the rodeo actually starts, and we'll bring about 40 to 50 7 to 9-year-olds
Okay.
out into the rodeo arena, and we will put them on blank livestock.
Okay.
Okay.
That's their version of a bull ride,
Oh, it's so fun.
It is so fun to watch.
isn't it? Then we'll bring the top 4 or 5 rides of the night back during the rodeo
Oh
performance.
yeah.
I'm not sure if people cheer louder for a great ride in the mutton busting or if they cheer for a great ride in the bull riding.
I think it's the mutton busting, and I love the
cheer loud.
trophies they get. The trophies are bigger than
They're taller than they are. I love it.
I love it.
And to watch them try and carry those trophies out of the arena at the end of the
man.
week, it's fantastic.
I'd love to see one ride good, but even more because I got boys. I love to see one just get like holding on, and just get drugged, just like,
Straight into
hanging
the
there.
wall. Like they don't even let go, and they just hammer
because
the
we've all
wall.
been there. Because we kind of grew up doing that on our farm. So what, Matt? What's our 4 options? What
Those are
are
4 options, and we'll come back, so don't answer. Okay. During mutton busting, are you riding a goat, a sheep, a pig? I'm going to say the first of all 3 of those we've probably ridden.
Yeah.
Or the last is a chicken.
That's a big
Chicken
The
jockey.
chicken, we haven't ridden the chicken.
Maybe Dale's down in Mexico finding those big chickens.
We've maybe chased the
Might be an
chickens. but we haven't
ostrich.
Not sure where you find those, but I want to see one.
He's gonna find them.
Oh, man.
So
that's
mutton
good.
busting.
That
One of the
is
things
good.
Love it.
Well, rolling into the next thing there, the importance of community connections in a business. Rolling straight into this, Joe, what makes a good business connection to the community?
Well, I'm going to tell you, the Rodeo of the Ozarks does not happen without community connections. And obviously, we're sitting here today, and you've been a partner with us longer than I can remember. And publicly, I want to say thank you for it because I hope you'll bring one of those new super trucks to the rodeo and let people take a look at it.
Yeah, we can do that.
I want to hook my trailer to it and see how we do it.
I do a tow test.
But think about, as we talk about that same diversity across the region, think about the diversity of business that all of our fan base represents.
Yo,
People want to go somewhere where they have a little piece of that.
yo,
My business is a part of this. There's my sign. There's my flag. There's my banner. There's my sign on the website. Oh, the announcer just mentioned my business name. We're going to have thousands of people, both from Northwest Arkansas and abroad, in that stadium all 4 nights. In the game of awareness, that's a fantastic tool to be able to have your name, your sign, your logo, your equipment seen because you have an audience that already gravitates toward your product, toward that style of life. That's a fish in a barrel kind of scenario. And you have that audio, video, physical displays, name recognition, parades with flags. There's a way to get your name in front of a community, but at the core of that conversation, we can't put on an event without that kind of support. The rodeo started, again, 1944. Think about what was going on in the world in 1944.
Yeah.
End of World War II. Walking right into a very economically depressed time in our nation. Our community needed something to do. They needed something to break that cycle, that mindset of here we are, the world's at war. It's a hard time and place. That's where the rodeo started from. It was a community engagement piece. It was a business engagement piece. It was an economic development piece. Well, that was 1944. Think about here we are 81 years later. Our region's still growing in terms of diversity. Still have families who need something to get out and do that's candidly family friendly, that you don't have to worry about bringing your kids to.
Absolutely.
That still tips our hat, no pun intended, to our heritage, but is still forward thinking enough that we have something there for everybody. Now, if your business wants to be a part of that conversation, that's where you need to be seen.
Yep.
It's a real easy conversation. Can you be a part of what we're doing out here? You don't have to spend this much money to sponsor an event. There are ways to play at this much, and this much, and this much. That's the same conversation that you can have with community engagement right here, or in any business development plan. find a way for someone to engage that fits their ability, and then maximize their exposure for it.
I love that. And that definitely you taking that piece, really your whole involvement in the community to be able to then include other business owners and say, hey, I want you to be a part of our success, which then helps us be more successful, obviously, because you're pouring back into us.
Can be part of the family.
Absolutely. But I love that because that in turn makes a business owner that sponsored your event come out with their family, their employees, and then be proud to say, hey, we're a part of this heritage.
And it builds a network. Come do business with us. We're going to, in turn, not only promote your business, we're going to continue to do business with you and tell that story.
Yes, yes.
From a sponsor wise, I'll just have to say this is we never have question about sponsoring the rodeo. And from this point of view is we know that the rodeo is going to be neutral on politics. You know what I mean? We know that the rodeo is going to be neutral on race. On all of those type things that as a business sponsoring could back us into a corner because we sell to all types and all people. And then from a spectator to come, I don't have to worry about bringing my kids there and something being said or done that's wrong that I don't want to expose them to.
That's correct.
You know, I mean, so from that point, from a business and from a family, y'all just do a fantastic job preserving that.
Yeah, it's definitely been something that over the years that I love and can attest to, that the sport of rodeo is just always that heritage. It's grounded, that does provide a great show, but always love seeing people come back to it that have never seen it, and it's a great atmosphere to be able to bring them into. So that's been huge there. So talking big about connections, and we've talked a whole lot about what you've done in this, but I love this because this is another side of it, a business side. So is it only rodeo, or do y'all do other events throughout the year?
So obviously rodeo is our big event.
Yes.
But if you go back 2 weeks ago, a very non-rodeo event, but something for the whole family, we had a demolition derby inside of our arena. I mean, here I am at a table with car guys. Let's talk cars.
Yeah.
Now, your body shop would probably really benefit from this. You probably need to send them a too. But we had a sellout crowd for a demolition derby right here in Northwest Arkansas.
Oh, that's cool.
And again, family-friendly environment, something that we had kids out there, bring your muffs, but we had kids out there, we had adults out there, we had folks who have been there for years, and we have folks who have been there for the first time. And they all left smiling, saying, when are we doing another one? And the answer is, we're going to do another one in the fall. But we also there's a carnival set up on our grounds right now. Okay. And it'll be there for the next couple of weeks leading up to rodeo time. We have, if you're just a bull riding fan, we have PBR events at the rodeo. Bullfighting events, if you really want to watch the clowns get out there and do their work. Events dedicated just to that. If you're into parades, we have one of those that will be on Wednesday morning, the first day of the rodeo this year. We have Christmas parades at the holidays.
Yes.
We do scholarship programs for local kids. We have multicultural heritage events across the span of the calendar year. During the rodeo this year, we will have a Hispanic Heritage Night.
Okay.
We will have a Tough Enough to Wear Pink Night. Saluting those who have endured that fight with cancer and keep on pushing. We'll have some special events there called Rope Your Dreams, where we work with a local young man or woman who are going through some issues of their own and try and support them in that process. And then I know that I'll forget one of our nights, but each night has a theme tied to it.
Yes.
That is just that, it'll be a salute to all of our service agencies across the region, all of our military, first responders, police, fire. Just as a tip of our hat, thank you for what you do for us.
Okay.
One thing that I love when I go to the rodeo, and this is one-sided and politicky, not really politicky, but I love when I go to the rodeo that it's just so classic. It's so classic.
It just takes you back.
Right? Always the national anthem. I love that. And there's always a big-hearted, colorful prayer that I love that is so like, hey, we understand you might have differences or feelings, but we're going to go ahead and do it.
We're going to pray over these cowboys.
And there's always a salute any night that I've been to any military, active, retired, just the classics of what America was built on and what the rodeo was built on. I love that. There's great respect in the rodeo. There's good manners in the rodeo. The things we were raised on, probably you were raised on. People take care of their animal. The good things of what our country was founded on. I love that about the rodeo.
It's funny you say that because, and we all know that we've grown around it, but it's fun to take friends that have never been to it and just to sit back and see.
Watch.
Because it's like this reset and this breath of fresh air of like, whatever's going on in the world out there,
Yeah.
here's how you can be highly competitive, you know, have a lot of honor for what you do, yet be respectful. You know what I mean? And what's right's right, and what we should stand up for, we stand up for, no matter what the rest of the world's saying.
Yeah.
So it's fun taking somebody there that's never been to a rodeo before.
It's an experience.
The fact that you brought that up and I didn't have to tells me that we're pushing that culture, that code, that moral code.
Yeah.
That means more to me than the rest of it.
That.
If we can provide that example for families to bring their kids to,
Yeah.
for the next 2 hours, we want you to come be a part of this culture.
Yes.
That's a win.
That is a win.
It is.
That is. Especially when the rest of society is telling you not to do that.
That's right.
So my hat's off to you.
Especially as we talk about adapting, you can adapt without getting away from roots.
Absolutely.
Right? And like what makes it so good, you know?
You know, the parade, I'm going to tell you about the parade here, you know, because we're involved in the parade. You know, whether it's convertible that the Queen's riding in, or, you know, we've had some vehicles, too, that shuttle people around. And I'll tell you a story about one. And this is years and years ago, okay?
I didn't do it.
Okay, there's no hard feelings about it, okay? No hard feelings. But one year, we were honored to get a signature from one of the horses. Okay? And this
That's different from a bull
this
riding
Dodge
signature.
Grand Caravan came back, okay, from the parade. And it had 2 perfect U's in the side of the door, and a horse had donkey kicked the side of it, and you could see the shoes in it. And it's just, you know, it's one of those things like okay, hey, we understand that's part of the responsibility, and you're around animals and the cars. But it's just a fun thing to chuckle about. Like that's what it is. Again, I'm not holding that over your head. But I was like, dang, you can actually see the shoes. And I mean, that's all you do.
I hope you kept the door panel inside. That'd be a great thing to frame and put on the
Wouldn't it?
wall.
Right?
Yeah. Proud sponsor of the
Proud
rodeo.
sponsor. Love Rodeo the Ozarks. Right?
It was a caravan door, so it's not, you know.
You know, luckily there was enough of those out there. But that parade, the reason I bring up the part of the parade is then there's a ton of people in Springdale that saw, or from other areas that came for the parade, that maybe didn't go to the actual rodeo, but you still got exposure and you still got fun. Y'all did a great job just encompassing that whole week, all things rodeo.
Yeah. And again, it comes back to at what level can you engage with us? Some folks can show up to a parade. You can see some beautiful horses. We'll have bands marching, playing their music. You'll see floats. Probably toss a few lollipops and pieces of candy off the floats. And if that's all that you can be a part of, great. Come be a part of that with us. This year, there will be everything from a parade. That morning, there will be a pancake breakfast downtown Springdale. Something for everybody to come gather around and watch the show as it comes by. If you can come be a part of the rodeo itself with us, again, we're there June 25th through the 28th. Find a night that works for you. I can tell you, you don't need to worry about which night you come to. It's going to be a great show, something for everybody there.
I'll tell you another part of it too, and we've just been honored to be a part of it, is the years that it works out. You know, we have a bull here. You know, Big John usually is the one that comes. Big John, and then maybe and a couple of the cowboys or the rodeo clowns will come and they'll sign. You know, and I can just tell you that my kids have gotten stuff signed. They got boots signed and hats signed, and you know, then their picture, you know, on the bull. So that's another fun way that we get to incorporate that in our local business to bring y'all awareness, yet help drive traffic to us.
Absolutely. See, you need the collection now. It's an annual thing. You can watch the progression of your kids grow up from year to year to year. You can watch Big John grow in gray hairs from year to year. But again, that's trying to bring something new, even out here. How many car dealers would be willing to let a bull stand right in the middle of their brand new trucks?
Exactly.
And there's some trust there, with the exception of one set of prints on a door.
That's not bad.
Oh,
That's good stuff.
That's growing, and I love of you talking about that. The boys now growing up, they notice things like that, and they grow. My favorite always growing up because he was funny before any of the other, but good Liesl Harris. It was the funniest, and he was with his shotguns and everything else he would come out with. He was always accompanied with probably your favorite, the good one-armed bandit that would ride his horse up on top of the trailer. So I love hearing stories of anyone that's grown up around it over the years and seen all of those people come through.
You know, and the tribute to Liesl,
Yes.
most of your comedic acts that now tour within different strings of rodeo, they still pay tribute back to a lot of his acts. You'll still hear little bitty inflections of some of his old stories, his old jokes. And that's not copying material.
No.
That's paying tribute to where they came
It is.
Yeah.
And, thinking back to some of the foundation names that have come through our rodeo, whether they were cowboys, cowgirls, specialty acts, we've had some of the industry's best.
Yes.
And we continue to try and seek those out as new acts come forward. The cool part is they remember that same heritage and they still pay homage to it.
That's great. That's great.
I'll tell you the other thing that has passed the past time and it continues to be relevant is, hopefully I say this right, but the kid's toy, the Weezer. And that's what it's called?
I think we've all bought 2 or 3
I
of
know.
those. over
I can
the
remember as a kid going, I hope it lands where I
It
was.
never goes in the fucking sheets.
I just remember growing up as a kid, I thought I could go out there and just throw that thing the same way that they did it.
It didn't
Mine
work,
just
did
seemed to stay out there.
Gosh,
How did they do that?
No, I guess I
I
hadn't
mean,
practiced that.
I'd throw it and have to go get it.
See, I still think we need one of those T-shirt cannons that
Yes,
looks like an old
yes.
double barrel shotgun that shoots 2 of them at the same
Yeah,
time.
we gotta make that
We got to
happen.
make that happen. We haven't got that done yet.
Okay.
That's
Oh, that's good. Hey, diving back into what animals use in the mutton busting, I'm going to go ahead and take chicken off.
Not a
That would
chicken.
we would be like an ostrich if you go into
yeah, that would be a good
and
option.
that would be pretty wild. But going into goat, sheep, pig, I'm taking chicken off. So you got a 1 of 3 option there.
You want me to pick?
Yeah, you pick which one.
It's got to be sheep. And that's what the answer is.
Yeah,
That's also,
it is.
growing up, we had a few of those. Now, we might have dismounted the horse to get the sheep.
That was we never actually rodeoed. We showed,
That was our internal
we
rodeo at
showed
the farm.
horses, but
Just a bulldogger, you didn't know it.
yeah, that's what we would do. So we might have jumped off some horses onto some sheep, but even more, we would tie things to the sheep and let them pull us. But animals are pretty smart, and our sheep didn't get sheared as much as they should. That was at a flat top.
Yeah.
And their flat top came from getting away from other things by going under our cable rail fence. And so then when we would ride them, or try to, because our dad taught us how to play football using the sheep.
Being the guy who's had to hold those sheep for years, if you can block one of those, if
Right?
you can turn one of those,
That's like-
don't
pretty
worry.
good.
That's like a Mr. Miyagi thing,
You're doing-
right?
you're doing fine.
So that was Dad's way, and you had to get all 4 legs wrapped up to take him down.
Get a steep and don't take down.
Yeah, and so we would practice. Mom did not like that, right?
Don't tell
And
Mom.
so we would get a hold of the sheep and it'd go straight for a fence because it could take its hair
tuck
off
under.
and us.
There's not much stopping one of those things whenever they decide they want to
Yeah.
go somewhere.
So it makes sense. The mutton busting
Yeah.
is the sheep, right? You don't need any head-butted kids with a goat.
And the good news is they've got something soft and fluffy to hold on to.
oh yeah.
A sidebar story
It's like
on,
Velcro, really.
on the sheep is we probably didn't shear them as much as we should. But one year we had Prairie Grove Ag came out, and they were using class study with
Yeah.
shearing sheep. And one of them they sheared it about halfway through. They hit a fishing lure. Now luckily it wasn't stuck in the skin of the sheep, but in the
It's just in the wool.
In the wool was a rattler trap.
It's like, Mrs. Lewis, do you know it is like these three, right?
And you blame that on him. Is that
We did talk about the pig. We had this really big pig that we would ride when we were young. Well, let's get for the audience. Not at our current size.
It's no mutton
When we
busting
were-
age,
When
right?
we were really young, and the way that the pig would throw us off is it could drop its front legs.
Just dump it
Yeah,
around.
so that thing could go on fast and whoop,
Yeah, you think
roll
these
right over
poor
the
animals,
top.
Peter, just keep to yourself, right? These animals knew
They're
exactly
tough as
what they were
nails.
doing. Matter of fact, I found Taylor one time in a horse stall,
The Rams are mean.
and the sheep had him pinned, just ramming the fire out of him, giving back what we'd given
Males
to
are pretty
them.
angry.
So,
You're just stomping that foot at you, and here it
Yeah.
comes.
Oh, yeah.
and we love these things. We took such great care of them, just in case you're concerned. So mutton busting is the sheep. It's a lot of
Let's
fun.
get back on track.
So, Joe, I want you to walk
Hey, and
us.
just quick plug on that.
Yeah.
You don't have to be, because the best ones that go out there, you don't have to be anything rodeo history to do the mutton bust.
Not at all.
The
Little
less
honorary.
rodeo, the better. Like,
Yeah.
get out there,
Put a
you
helmet
on
on,
them
hold
and turn
on.
them loose.
While we're talking about the event, I do need to say, if you're watching, if
Okay,
you
hit 'em.
have kids that you would like to participate, we're taking names right now. Registration is open.
So how do
Alright.
they register?
So they can either call our office,
Okay.
which is 479-756-0464, or they can register online at rodeooftheozarks.org.
Okay, so if you
perfect.
got somebody, what are the ages? Ish.
I want to make sure I said this right, and I believe I said it incorrectly earlier. I believe it's 5 to 7.
5 to
Okay.
7. Okay, somewhere in 5 to 7 ish. Call up and get registered.
Yeah, he's getting close.
Let's get him
Couple
on
more
there.
years.
So help us now. Let's talk week of the rodeo.
Yes, sir.
Okay, week of the rodeo. Heart of it. You said the dates were June.
25th to the 28th.
Okay, and what days are those?
That's a Wednesday through Saturday.
Wednesday through Saturday. We moved June. June's good. We get better
June's good.
talent,
I like
better
June.
participation.
Yep.
So night one. Well, sorry, you said first is the parade,
Correct.
and that's on that Wednesday.
That's going to be on that Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock.
Okay, so then the first rodeo takes place that night.
Correct.
So how does the rodeo start? Walk us through surface level of the events.
Great. So that Wednesday night, that's one of those theme nights. That's our faith and family night.
Okay.
Okay.
So there will be music. There will be a strong, strong family influence on Wednesday night.
Okay.
Bring your kids.
Okay.
It's going to be a great faith-filled beginning to the rodeo.
Okay.
Then we will open the gates. We'll do our grand entry, and we will start rodeo action at 7 o'clock.
Okay. And grand entry. What if you've never been to rodeo? What does that look like?
That's where all of the cowboys and cowgirls who maybe they need a little bit of a warm-up, they get to ride through. You get to see the board of directors hopefully stay on the top side of the horse.
All right.
That's one of those things that we really hope for.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the pageantry, some of the history of where that rodeo came from. You'll see our rodeo queens. You'll see our sponsor flags come through. The American flag will lead us through every night.
Yeah.
Again, very prayerful, very patriotic. That is near and dear to the heart of rodeo.
A horse of every size.
Horse of every
Every
size, shape, color. You might even see. We've had an occasional longhorn be ridden through the grand
Yes.
entry,
Or
which is
donkey.
always fun right
Donkey.
now.
A good gated mule come through.
Love it.
If you want to see an extra parade, you can almost think of our grand entry as that
It's like
second
another
parade that you
parade.
get. to see.
Yeah. I
With a
love
little
that.
action every once in a
Little
while.
action.
A little mutton busting, then a little grand entry, and then what events will we see?
Sure. So our rodeo has the classic 8 events.
Okay.
Okay.
And if I miss one, then I'll just have to circle
That's
back
okay.
and do
We
that.
won't
But
know.
Everything from bareback, saddle bronc, calf roping, team roping. Last year we added in women's breakaway roping, a
I
really
remember seeing that.
growing sport.
Yeah.
Our classic barrel racing, steer wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
bull riding,
Yes.
and all of the specialty acts that go in between.
So, specialty acts, we're talking about entertainment. One thing I do need to ask, because my uncle always asks, the guy with the dogs with the monkeys on the back, are their hands glued to the saddle?
They are not. They are actually holding on, riding for dear life.
That's what he always say, because they are going so fast. And Uncle Tommy would say, they got to glue those things on there,
They're
right?
just better cowboys than the rest of
They
us.
are good. So that's one of many entertainments. There'll be the guy that's, and you don't have to tell us, but that's ridden his horse up and over the truck and onto the trailer, and then the wagon, and the new version of the Liesl Harris, and the clowns, and the entertainment's amazing.
So we really try and find those specialty contract acts to bring in for that entertainment value. And again, depending on the year, it could be anything from cowboy monkeys. It could be horses. It could be buffaloes. It could be mountain sheep. It could be putting them up on a trailer. It could be, last year we had a gentleman who, one of the most specialized animal trainers in our industry was here. I have to keep that one secret so that you can come see.
Yeah, I love that. And so the entertainment's so good. So the entertainment goes, the 8 different disciplines, but then there's more. So like you should probably be there early because around the grounds,
Yes.
walk us through of what people can see or buy or taste.
So our gates open at 5:30.
Okay, 5:30 every night.
Come through, sample some of, take your expectations for the best carnival atmosphere food that you could walk through, now elevated to cowboy standards.
Okay.
Okay.
Cowboys are known for their appetite. They like to eat.
Yeah.
And so do rodeo fans. So we want to make sure that we have a great selection of food options for you.
Okay.
We have some vendors who are there doing everything from hats, T-shirts, belts, saddles, tack. Come be a part of that experience also.
That's fun, and we've done that as kids. I remember that. We rode in the Grand Entry and got to see it all and be a part of it all. But now taking our boys through it, we laughed about this before, and Joe was like, man, where's your cowboy hat? And I was like, man, I apologize. Left it in my closet. I've got my work hat on. But our boys every year have to get a new collection. I'm like, boys, you got a hat last year, didn't you? So you can get that there, right?
Absolutely.
They've
You
got
can
ropes,
come get your
hats.
hat. You can ropes, hats, toys, trinkets,
Pony
T-shirts,
rides.
pony rides.
All
We've
while
got-
holding your kettle corn and 2-foot-long corn.
Yes, sir.
Tonight, the
You
lemonade.
can find anything fried
And,
almost.
and a fresh fried corn dog's a pretty good thing.
The funnel cakes. I think they just keep adding stuff to
They just add
those funnel
stuff on
cakes.
top of the
I
funnel
mean, a
cake.
funnel cake that fills your plate and then goes vertical about
Can we just get buckets to carry those in?
we
or
can do that,
something?
yeah.
I
Extra
mean,
powdered sugar. Give
like
it-
you imagine you get in those seats and the family comes back in between an event and you just got this thing and somehow always got a dark colored shirt.
Absolutely.
And like a
somebody
bucket of
else
lemonade,
sneezes.
too.
Yeah. A bucket and the wind will come and you just be covered in powdered sugar.
And then you're
chocolate
standing up, got to get throw me the weasel.
Yeah.
and then the person in front of you is wearing your powdered sugar.
Hey, watch this cowboy right here.
Do you do? And if you don't, I didn't like it. But if you do, it's great. Do you still do fireworks?
So this year we don't have fireworks.
I didn't like those.
Oh, you didn't like those? That's too bad.
I'm joking.
We try and kind of alternate those.
Alternate.
in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's an event sometimes that would happen there. Man, I'm trying to think of any other events or things that are part of.
Well, and also too, if and I might be diving into something here, but y'all at the dinner too, if you're in the buckle clubs, you got
Yes,
great
sir.
barbecue, so that's all
yeah.
part of it as well.
You can get the meal plus air conditioning. That's always a great thing before a rodeo.
before you
Yeah,
just start
a little bit.
sweating, you get those thick jeans
Yeah.
on and long sleeves and.
But whenever we moved it forward a couple of weeks into June, hopefully it's a few degrees cooler anyway.
Yeah.
The humidity's not quite so high.
Yeah.
And there's covering and there's some fans, and
That's the other thing our uncle asks about is he'll ask the most random questions. But we'll be going over, hey, we got our tickets for the rodeo this year. He's like, did you get the menu yet? What are they serving? I'm like, I don't know.
he likes to
That'd be
pick
good.
his night based on the buckle club,
Whatever they're
what they're
serving.
serving.
So let him pick first, and then we filter in.
Because you alternate those nights.
We
right?
do, and I can tell you, I had a hand in selecting this year's menu, and I didn't get this big by accident. I like quality food, and without throwing specific restaurant names out there, I can tell you this year we have everything from, we have a catfish night, we have a fajita night, we have a couple of barbecue nights, and I believe a steak night also. So it's going to be pretty good food in the Buckle Club area for sure.
You can tell, whether we were just talking about the food there or you're talking about, faith or tradition, you have so much pride in preserving the rodeo of the Ozarks, yet making it progressive. And there's not many people that we run into that can simultaneously do both of those.
Yeah,
So
that's something that our board has just absolutely dedicated their train of thought to is maintain where we came from, appreciate where we're going and grow with our population. Those are things that we keep near and dear as we make these growth decisions. So thank you for seeing that.
That's solid. How many people were on the board?
So we have a 13-member board.
Okay.
Right now we have 11 members on our board. We had a couple folks who life happened and they
Yeah.
needed to take care of life for a while. So
I love that.
that's another chance for that business engagement piece. As we talk about businesses who really want to be a part of what you're doing, those are ways to get
That's
look in
solid.
a hurry.
So super big week, a lot going on, and I say week because that's the focal point. You've got a whole year of stuff. How many people do you think of volunteers and helpers and cowboys, cowgirls? How many hands do you think are in that?
So again, an event like ours doesn't happen without corporate engagement. It certainly doesn't happen without volunteers. And it is hard to provide enough thank yous to all of the people who are out there giving their time, their energy, their love for the sport to our rodeo. We've got over 100 volunteers that show up to do everything from ushering, ticket taking. They help behind the scenes with the livestock. It's a huge thank you to everybody who's plugged in there. And the truth is, I don't care how big or how small your event is, you can't have enough volunteers.
Yeah.
So if anybody is watching this and they'd love to be a part of that effort, find ways to connect with us. We will find something that
Okay.
you can do with your talents to be a part of what we're doing.
I think that, I know you said the phone number earlier, but whether it's the website or the phone number, y'all got a great website for people to get involved there. Now, if somebody out there is listening and they're like, you know what, I should take my family to the rodeo this year, and like, but I don't have tickets. I heard those guys talking about tickets, this and that. Can they still get tickets? Can you get tickets the day of? Walk me through the process if we're like, hey, we got an opening this Thursday and it's Thursday morning and I want to take my family. What do I do?
See, you can do it a few ways. I hope you'll buy them in advance so that there's no last minute stress trying to get through the gates.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of ways to do it.
Uh-huh.
You can call our office, and again, I'll rattle that number off again if you'd like.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's 479-756-0464.
Mm-hmm.
They can call us anytime, and we have a staff there who can walk you through all of our different seating options, make sure you get the right place. You can, if you'd like to look online, you can get a digital bird's eye view of where your seat is, and you can point and click which seat you want in the stadium, and you can see what your vantage point's going to look like. So you can do that at rodeotheozarks.org.
Okay.
rodeotheozarks.org.
Can they walk up on the day of and buy tickets?
So that's the third option, and yes. And we have people that do that every night. If you get a last minute, hey, let's go to the rodeo and kind of itch. Great. We've got a box office right there that can take care of you. We've got ticket windows that can help you get situated.
Okay.
Don't let last minute decisions deter you from coming to see us.
I love that.
That's good.
What's the attendance availability? Like what, how many people could facilitate?
It's
Capacity.
not unrealistic to see 6,000-7,000 people per night.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right, so frequently asked questions. This is our favorite part of just randomness or goodness or sometimes great nuggets. So what is a frequent question that you get all the time about the rodeo?
Are they hurting the animals? The answer is no.
Okay,
No,
they're not.
You will not find anyone who wants to take better care of that livestock than those people who are out there with their lives depending on that stock. So for folks who simply just don't have a background or an experience with rodeo animals,
Yeah.
most of them live a far cushier life
I was going to
than any of our horses at home.
Yeah.
And they were truly bred, raised, and taken from venue to venue for this purpose.
With that intention.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want to talk about high dollar animals who are living their best life, come see what they do with these animals.
They
So
might get
that's-
wrestled a little bit here or there, or ridden here and there, but that's what they're made for.
I think that's a great point. And like, you don't really see that unless you see the behind the scenes of those animals live a better life and are better cared for than just a horse or a cow or a farm animal that's just out in the pasture.
Now, these are animals who are truly looked after, cared for 24/7, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is what the rodeo company's purpose is. That is what these cowboys and cowgirls live for. It's a shared effort. If there's ever an issue, take a look at who the first people to bail off and go assist are. Those cowboys are going to be the first ones to go out there and take care of those animals.
Yeah.
That's a great point. All right, so I got another one for you. What is something that happens behind the scenes that the public never really sees, but is pivotal to make sure that the event goes on successful?
So you touched on it earlier. When you talk about volunteers, the heart of our volunteer base, they're out there weeks before the rodeo. They're everything from grounds maintenance to working with the stock as they come in. They're setting up community events. Whenever we're out here with our bulls, you'll see some of our volunteers. You'll see some of our organized riding group, the Rounders. You'll see them here. They tour all around the area, going to rodeos, building that awareness about the rodeo, the Ozarks. What people don't see are the man hours, the man and the woman hours, forgive me, that go into building not only an awareness for the event, but making it happen those 4 nights of rodeo. There's a small army of folks who are out there, some doing what they're capable of and some giving up weeks of vacation time to be out there to make that event happen. And I hope we can continue to grow that kind of volunteer base.
And that's great.
Man, it's been a whole lot of fun. Any other shout out that you want to do for people to be able to get in contact with you guys? I know they've given the phone number. We've talked about the location, right there in Springdale. They can show up day of. We highly encourage get your ticket before then so you can plan.
Well, let's close it this way. We couldn't do this without you guys. We couldn't do this without Lewis Automotive, without their family of groups, without their family of dealerships being there. If you're looking for a great vehicle, let me give you a plug. Come out to the Rodeo of the Ozarks. Take a look at some of these trucks that are going to be out there.
Yep.
No doubt hooked to somebody's horse trailer.
Yep.
But June 25th through the 28th,
Okay.
come see us, come be a part of what we're doing. And guys, thank you for being a part of what we do.
You bet.
Joe, thanks for coming on. It's been a whole lot of fun today. Hopefully it provided for you guys out there a little bit behind the scenes on what the rodeo means to Northwest Arkansas, how it's evolved, how you can put some of those practices in place for maybe your nonprofit or your business. But yeah, get the family out. Do something traditional that maybe you haven't done in the past. Go check out Joe and his entire crew at the Rodeo of the Ozarks, from the parade to the mutton busting to the funnel cakes and so on and so forth. Hey, thanks for joining us this week. Make sure to follow us on crossroadconversationpodcast.com and check out over 1,000 vehicles in stock and ready to go for you at lewissuperstore.com.
Hey, thanks for joining us today, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to give it a like, share it with your friends and family, visit our website, and send us some questions. We want to know what you'd like to hear, who you'd like to hear from, and what you want to see, or maybe even some questions for us to answer about either the automotive industry or just business in general.